Raise your hand. Anybody who thinks our present federal tax system is fair, raise your hand. Oh, I'm not joking. People making $400,000, you don't think it's fair.
This won't pass, thankfully, not even close, but let's break it down just for fun. Roughly $5.5 trillion in tax increases over the next decade so they can just, piss that away. The budget raises the top personal income tax rate to 39.6 from 37 for Americans over $400K. The plan would increase the federal capital gains tax rate, explosion in that, from 20 up to 39.6 for households making over $1 million, including an annual 20% minimum tax on unrealized gains for those same individuals. So if you make over $1 million, they're going to start taxing you on assets before you even sell them. You really can't do that. There's no way to do that because those asset prices can go down. So what happens the next year? The federal government sends you a check when it goes back down? What's the point? Biden wants to raise the corporate tax rate to 28% from 21%, which means bye-bye jobs, of course, going to most other first world countries that are smart enough to keep a corporate tax rate in the low 20s. And he wants to levy a 25% billionaire tax on U.S. households worth more than $100 million. France tried that one. It was a complete disaster. All the rich people left France, and they canceled it immediately to get all those rich people to come back with all the money that they spend. On top of all this, the deficit 2024 would still increase from $1.6 to $1.8 trillion. Even with all that tax money destroying our economy, the debt would swell to over $51 trillion in the next 10 years. Trish Regan joins us now. More than aware, as I am, of how ridiculous this thing is. What a sad story.
I'm just laughing. I appreciated your description of it, which was quite good. But look, I mean, I think that, and thank goodness this is not going to get through, but this should be a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Now we need to really understand and comprehend that this is not your father's or even your grandfather's Democratic Party. This is something entirely different. I was looking at this today and I'm like, okay, so it either proves one of two things. He really does have dementia, as many people have suggested, or two, he's a communist, or I guess both of the above.
All the above, yeah.
Yeah, all the above. It's never going to work if you try to basically disincentivize businesses and people from earning more money. How do you think you're going to grow the economy that way? You mentioned this quote unquote mark to market of assets. So, okay, you have a house, your neighbor decides to sell his house and maybe it's a good market and he gets twice the valuation for his house. Well, then what? You're going to owe the federal government the difference because they're suddenly saying, oh, your house is worth twice as much as you thought it was. It is so preposterous. But again, important that we understand the mindset of where they really are, Rob.
And you know what? It's so sad because if they could take 75% from all of us, and within a couple years, they'd figure out how to piss it all away, and they'd be coming back saying, you're not paying your fair share, and we need more. We have a spending problem. We have never had a revenue problem. We spend we bring in $5 trillion a year, an amount so ungodly, I can't even fathom it, and they manage to waste it all. And I mean, even in Congress, they admit, probably about half of the money you send here is wasted.
Yeah, no, they waste a ton of money. I mean, look, I am very, very much in favor of finding a solution and making sure everyone in Ukraine is safe and they have freedom. But I'm going to be honest, you look at the numbers here. Yeah. We have spent in a year almost as much as we spent 20 years in Afghanistan. I mean, these are big numbers that we're talking about. The Wall Street Journal estimated more than $200 billion. Janet Yellen is saying we're going to give another $10 billion. We know that the defense secretary in Ukraine was fired for corruption. Yep. His deputy is alleged to have stolen $400,000. Again, it's the problem of government, right? And that's what's going on over there. But think about what goes on here. We just give money to whatever problem is out there, and we think that money is going to solve the issue. Yeah. It's not always money. It's often management, and that's what we're lacking right now. We do not have a CEO of this country. Yeah. We don't have somebody that's running things and making sure that the trains, literally, I know you were just talking about Ohio, are on time. Yeah. I mean, we are in a very, very bad spot. So you can't throw more money at it and expect it to solve itself.
And they sit there and they scream in your face about fair share, And I like to pound this into people's heads so you can tell everybody you know. The top 1% in this country bring in 20% of the wealth and pay 40% of the taxes. It might be unfair. It's unfair the other way. That's the truth. It is just a simple, cold, hard truth. Trish Regan, always good to see you, and we match.
I like it. Good to see you, Rob.
All right, thank you.